Greetings, crafters. It's Julie Creek from Creek Bank Creations. I'm here to share with you today the barn door die. This is a fun interactive card. We're going to go over the die elements that are included in the package, and I'm going to explain how to make the card into a moving element. The door slides across the front of this card and offers a fun, unique look for the person that you give it to. We also have an accessory die that you can purchase, which is a little card stand, and then the person can put it up in the card stand and look at it. So it's a really fun die. Let's go over the basics. Now, whenever we have a bundle, something that we have multiple stamps and dies, I like to store it all in the same pocket together. So we do have these storage envelopes, and I wanted you to see how I keep it all together. This die set has 3 stamp sets that go with it, that match it. They don't go with, but they do match. And so let's go over those. I store them all together. The first set has Open the Door to Success and Congratulations, you did it. And then it has Baby Girl and Baby Boy on it. So that's a great set right there. The second set has Get Well Soon, Heard You Caught a Bug, Happy Birthday, and Open the Door to My Heart, some love things on it. Great suggestions from Diane Wilcox, who actually helped me with this whole entire set. And then the third in this set is an inspirational set. It's got a cross and a key on it, and it has inspirational sayings on it. Prayer is the key, but faith unlocks the door. So those are meant to be an encouragement to someone who might be going through a difficult time. I keep the Sizzix wood plank embossing folder in my folder, so that I have it handy, because I am going to need to emboss the front door and the planks that go on it. I'm using the Tim Holtz Texture Fade wood planks. Let's go over the elements in the set. You have the large rectangle on the right, and that is the piece that cuts the base. So they're not attached together, but I keep mine taped together with some washi tape, so I can just grab it off the sheet and die cut it. And I just die cut it there on some craft cardstock so you can see what that base looks like. To the left, you have the rectangle pieces, and the large rectangle is the door, and the 2 small long rectangles are the planks on the door, and you'll want to emboss those with the embossing folder. Now we have the wheel and the handle, and those pieces are meant to go at the top of the door, and the handle goes in the middle, and they're just really nice elements to add to the card. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the 4 stitched dies. When I say stitched, when you look at them, they look as if they have little stitch marks in them, which is a really nice feature. These 4 pieces at the bottom of the screen are designed to fit the stamp sets. So you have larger elements, and then you have smaller elements. The larger elements are the pieces that go behind the door, and the smaller elements go on the door. Now, Diane had some really good suggestions for things that she wanted to go, some accessory dies, and so we added those. This is the stitched hanging heart, and the hearts are stitched and they hang on the door, and that little stitched heart is just absolutely adorable, hanging on the front of that door. And then she wanted a card stand. Now, when we worked on the card stand, this is the package for the card stand. When we worked on it, Diane wanted it to fit on a half of a sheet of paper, because she didn't want it to take up a bunch of paper. And she wanted it to be able to sit behind the card exactly, so that when you shipped it, you could put it in the mail and ship it to your friend, and then they would have this nice card stand. So what a great idea, and it's a nice addition to this whole entire set. Let's go over the supplies that you need. You need a package of slide guides from Creek Bank Creations. That's how the door moves. You need mini glue dots, and you need a package of chipboard strips. We're going to adhere the chipboard strips to the back of our card, which is going to give it the lift that it needs for the slide guide element to work. So we're going to use Craft Tacky Glue. You can use whatever liquid you have. This is just my preference, and I have the large cap from Scrap Perfect on my bottle. So we have all those elements, and then we're going to build a purple happy birthday card. The base of my card I've pre-cut at 4.25 by 5.5. The second piece we're going to put on is actually the Creek Bank Creations large stitched rectangle die. It's sized perfectly for this card. If you don't have it, you'll have to cut one by hand, which you'll just have to use your paper trimmer and cut one. We're going to adhere the tan paper to the purple cardstock, and that's going to give us our base, and then we're going to work with that large rectangle that we have die cut. We're going to adhere the slide guides to this element, and when I do this, I dump the slide guides out on the counter and take a look at them. You want the flat pieces down on the counter, so what you have looking at you face up are little circles. So you want to look at them and you want to pull the small circles out, and we're going to use the small circles first. So I pulled out 4 small circles, and I'm going to slide the rest across. We don't need those. And we're going to set the circles down on the middle of our work surface. Now pick up that card base that you already cut and simply lay it on top of the plastic. So that paper is laying on top of the plastic, and then I'm going to take the large ones and I'm going to take those circles and snap them right on top of the small circles. And that is how the slide guide is installed on a card. Pretty simple. Just got to know the tricks. So my elements are secure there, and I'm ready to add the chipboard strips. So I'm going to take my chipboard strips and I want to cut 4 pieces, and I want to lay them on the back of my card. That'll give the card lift. So I just simply lay them down on the card, take my scissors and trim them off. And we want 2 for the top. I'm sorry, 1 for the top, 1 for the bottom, 2 for the middle, and then I throw a scrap in the middle. So you're going to take your liquid glue and adhere that into the card. Now whenever you're making a moving card, I prefer to use the liquid glue simply because we don't have to worry about anything getting caught in the adhesive from a dry tape runner. So it's a really good option. So we're going to take the glue it in. You could certainly use tape runner if you wanted to, or you could use just 1/4 inch tape. I just prefer to use the liquid glue. I also like the stability that it offers the card. So we're going to get those all glued in. Once we have those down and secure, we're going to get the card base. We're going to put glue all over those chipboard strips, and we're going to turn it upside down and glue it to the base of the card. So this video has been a long time in coming. I have reshot this video probably 8 times. I've reshot it at least 5 times today. It seems like we have one problem after another. It seems to be a little bit shaky. I do not know why it's doing that, and I see I have ink all over my fingers. That's because I've shot the card multiple times. So my apologies that we don't have better quality. We are working on it. I'm going to take these pieces that I've already cut. Those are the pieces that were on the bottom section there, and I've got my happy birthday sentiment. We're going to glue those in right behind the door, and we'll be ready to get our door assembled. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to pull up. We're going to get out our door. I've already die cut those, and I've already embossed the door. You can see there the embossed pieces. Now I want to show you, in case you don't know how to add some ink to the door. I like to take some brown ink, and you want an ink that's blendable, and preferably a dye-based ink, not a pigment, and use the ink finger dauber. You could also use the ink blending tool and just drag some ink over the door. You'll see that gives that really nice color, and it picks up the detail in the door. Now we want to glue the planks down on the front of the door, and you can design this any way you want to. I did the Z, but you can do an X or whatever you want. And I added the little hanging element of the birthday cake. So I had that ready to go. We're going to take our liquid glue and we're going to adhere the planks to the door. Now here's another thing about liquid glue. When you make a project like this and you adhere these elements down with liquid glue, it really does give the product strength and stability. So it really does strengthen the door to have that liquid glue on there. So it's another it's another reason why I use it. The other thing is the glue takes a minute or so to dry, which gives you time to move everything around. So if you put something down and you want to move it, in this case, I'm going to adhere that plank down, and I want to move that thread around and get that cake sentiment set exactly the way I want. Liquid glue simply gives you time to do that. So that's another reason. I'm often asked why I use liquid glue the way I do, and that is why. So we're going to hold that all down. Then I have already cut the handles for the door, and I have my super tacky tape on the back of that. So I'm going to stick that down right on the door, one on the left, one on the right. I put 2 on this door. Sometimes I put 1 on. You can decide how you want to do it. Now we're going to take our door, and we need to add the wheels at the top of the door. In this case, I die cut the smallest hearts off of the hanging heart set. These pieces do not have tape on the back of them. We're going to glue them on with the glue, one on the right and one on the left. You could certainly use the wheel, which is actually the round circle die that comes with the set, to do this with. I just like the little hearts. I'm making this purple card in honor of my daughter-in-law, Jordan, who loves purple. So purple hearts seem to be the perfect thing to put at the top. We've got our hearts on there for our hanging mechanism. Now we're going to take our chipboard, and we need to cut 2 shims, 2 little pieces, one for the top and one for the bottom. If we add the chipboard shim to the back of the door, it gives the door clearance, and it doesn't catch on the text words that are on the front of the card. I like to accent my chipboard with a little bit of brown ink all along the edges. Just cleans up the edge of it, and when you look at the card from the side, it looks a whole lot cleaner. So we're going to put our great old glue that we love on the back of our chipboard shim, and we're going to adhere it to the door. And you can see how using a liquid glue like this, there's more stability put right on that door. Now I had a little piece of chipboard hanging off. I'm going to trim that off and accent that with some ink to cover up the edge. And then we're ready to put the door on the card. So there's our card that we already had done. We have our door, and we need the mini glue dots. This is where the glue dots come into play. So what I've discovered after teaching this a few times is that people really don't understand how to use glue dots. When you use glue dots, you want to peel the paper off and throw the paper away. There's 2 pieces there, a clear liner and a paper. Throw the paper away, take the clear liner directly to the glue dot and pull up. That is how you adhere a glue dot to your project that you're working on. If you have the roll, just tear it off the roll and then take the paper directly to the glue dot or directly to the slide guide and pull on it. Now when we adhere this, I like to hold that door and push it down on the 2 on the left first, and then hold the right up until I use my pencil to move that slide guide where I want it and push that slide down. So you're just going to stick that down, and that is how the slide guide is adhered on the barn door card. That was not hard. You just needed to know the tricks, and now you know. So thanks for sticking with me and watching this video on how to make a barn door card. You can see you can make all different kinds of fun cards with this die. It's a great card to give away. You just get a smile every time you give a card like this. You can find the die and the slide guides and our stamps on our website, www.creekbankcreations.com.